survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic. It lives to kill. A mindless eating machine. It will attack and devour anything. It is as if God created the podcast and gave him jaws.
The soul of Detroit.
You asked it around your Detroit, around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing?
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now, Albert?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric back with a compelling and fast-paced episode of the Soul of Detroit. I only say that because I'm joined by Mark Fellhauer, but not Sean Windsor. And I have to tell you that Sean's not here because sometimes he is here and it seems like he's not here, but he's really not here this week. He is on assignment in Monument Valley, I think.
Oh, he's on assignment? I thought he was just taking a vacation.
Well, I would try to make it sound like he's important, like they'd send him somewhere, you know.
There's not many sports that happen in Monument Valley, except for Forrest Gump running, right? Bloop. There's my bloop.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow. Okay.
For those that know what Monument Valley is, that's the scene where Forrest Gump stopped running.
Yeah,
he's running across.
We'll get into that in a future episode. But for now, we have our intern who you met last week, Patrick Schmitz, is with us. Patrick,
it's good to be on camera for once. People could see, people could see my glasses. People could see how clapped I look right now. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for our guests too.
Yeah, a lot of people have said to us since Patrick debuted audibly last week, I really wonder what kind of glasses Patrick's wearing. And is there any chance that they match his shirt? So if you're watching us on YouTube, we do our live broadcast every week around noon on Tuesday. And then, of course, you can watch the replay there. And we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is just ML Elric. But we have a special guest. Jason Vanderwaal is here. You may have read about him in the Detroit News, where Sarah Rahal did a great piece on his most extraordinary hobby, but it's also kind of a mission, and he's also been featured on many other media for the things that he has pulled out of the Detroit River using a magnet. So, Jason, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
First, we want to tell you a little bit about the people who make it possible for us to be here, and that's a guy named Luke Nowacki, who doesn't do any magnet fishing, but he will pull your retirement out of the murky depths, which I think
makes no sense.
Well, it's it's submerged. It's underwater. Maybe that's the tie-in. Because if you've been watching your 401k or IRA lately, it is a horror show.
Yeah, it's been all over the place. Let Luke at Pinnacle Wealth kind of make sense of it. 248-663-4748 for rational financial advice right now. Stocks, bonds, 401k. How do you allocate that? No one knows. No one has any idea. You got to get advice. You got to get a strategy. That's why we use Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth. Good man. 248-663-4748.
And we have a link to his website on our website, which is ML Soul of Detroit. And when you link there, you're going to find out that when you do business with Luke, he makes it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
And if you're looking at your portfolio, which we encourage you not to do, it's very frightening, and you're thinking, I got to come up with some dough. Well, you may have a lot of dough right around you in the four walls of your home. You can take some cash out of your house. You can refi. Housing market is still hot. If you're going to buy a place, you're going to need someone to help you with that mortgage. Well, that's our friend David Hall at Hall Financial, who has all kinds of great stuff going, as Mark will
not only when you get that cash out from refinancing, you pay off all your other debts, or you can consolidate your debts, credit card debt, student loans, all that crap. give Hall Financial a call. See what
That
they
you
can.
have because somebody put a fake check through your account and took out a bunch of money.
Any movement on that?
Yes, I went
Oh.
to the Detroit
Well,
Police
let me
Department.
finish the
Okay,
read,
so-
and then I want to get an update on that. So, for those that don't know, ML was trying to be. You were scammed, right? An attempted scam, the worst attempted scam.
No,
I've
somebody
ever heard.
else was scammed, but the check was written to me, and they cashed it. And then when the bank that the check was written on realized, oh, this isn't a real check,
They took money from you.
then they
to
came
cover
to
it.
me. So yeah, so I guess my bank was scammed, and a business was scammed, and somehow I ended up holding the bag. So that was great.
Well, you certainly won't be scammed by Hall Financial.
No.
They have a cash out refinance. You can consolidate all your debt into one manageable payment. You can get your cash out refinance in as little as 8 business days. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews. Get started on your cash out refinance right now. Unlock thousands of dollars. 866 call Hall or go online callhallfirst.com.
And when you call Luke and you call Hall, let him know that ML sent you. We're going to talk a little bit about the Kuju Cafe when we get into room 7609. It is the pride of the East Side. It's the place where you can go for great food, great music, and a great time. For more on the Kuju Cafe, go to kujucafe.com. A little later in the show, we'll tell you about all the great acts that are going to be there this week, including, well, I'll tell you about that a little later. So stick
Oh, what a
around.
tease.
I know people are at the edge of their seat, and we'll tell you a little bit more about the scam and the progress of my investigation, my pursuit for justice, a little later in the show as well. So don't go anywhere. Not that you're going to want to go anywhere, because Jason was talking to us a little bit about how he got into this magnet fishing before we came on the air, and it's a fascinating story. And he brought me a little souvenir here. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see it. It is a button from General MacArthur's 1948 campaign for president, which didn't get much further than the bottom of the Detroit River. But that is not, by a damn sight, the most interesting thing you found.
No, not even remotely.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into it and what kind of things you're pulling from what I feel safe to say is murky depths.
And what it is, I mean,
Yeah.
for those that don't know, what magnet fishing is. Although it sounds kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah, we're trying to catch steelhead and pike with a big magnet. With a hook stuck in its mouth, we're pulling it in. No, magnet fishing is using a large neodymium magnet in order to pull in the trash and debris from the bottom of any waterway. It's really picked up in America in the last few years. It's been pretty popular in Britain and Europe for, 5 or 10 years. About 2 years ago, I saw it on YouTube for the first time, thought it looked like it'd be fun for my daughter and I to get out and do it, and we bought a couple magnets. Actually, I made her first magnet out of a couple speaker magnets, and it didn't work at all. Ordered my first magnet from Rogue Magnetics. It was rated for 1,200 pounds, and I just started pulling stuff out of the river and the lakes in Livonia through Hines and the different lakes. We really started enjoying it, so my daughter talked me into creating a YouTube channel. And
It's a smart kid.
and well,
She was, 7 at the time?
she was 7 at the time, and kids are obsessed with YouTube.
She's a media
That generation,
mogul in the making.
that generation knows how to monetize.
So we did it. We created a channel. We were originally called Avery and Dad Adventures. After about a year, she didn't really want to go out in the cold. She didn't want to go out when it was raining. She was only appearing in maybe 1 out of every 5 or 6 episodes. So we decided to change the name to the Motor City Magnet Fishers. And we've been having fun ever since.
And where can people find those videos?
YouTube under Motor City Magnet Fishers is the best place to go. We're also on TikTok, Instagram. You can find us just about everywhere except for Twitter.
So, when I think of a magnet, and maybe it's just because I watched too many cartoons as a kid, I think of this horseshoe-shaped thing that's got red paint at the bottom, and it can pick up everything from Elmer Fudd's double-barreled shotgun to a spaceship. How did you, start? I mean, did you know that you needed a special kind of magnet? I mean, it sounds like you tried something, but did you just think it's metal, it's a magnet, bang, I'm done. I start pulling stuff up and putting it in my bag.
No, I knew that it was going to take a specialized magnet for it. And this company that I ordered it from, they actually make the magnets for magnet fishing. They're designed for that purpose. They market them as like a recovery magnet too. It's big magnet the size of my hand. This is actually one of the smallest magnets I
Okay.
own. This one's rated for 1,200 pounds of lifting force.
So it kind of looks like a CD that's maybe about 3/4 of an inch thick with a little loop on the top of it. Are there certain challenges trying to attract metal through water?
No, actually, there's not. And magnets actually perform better at colder temperatures. So being in the river, even in the winter, is actually good for them.
Did you know all this stuff about magnets, or did you just learn this all by doing all?
Well, it's a hobby. I had to learn it all. I didn't know it all to begin with.
No, but it seems like you started from scratch, which is,
Well, no, I mean there were people on YouTube doing it. There was the Brockton Magnet Fisher, the Kinsler brothers. These are guys that I'm now friends with. But they're the videos that I saw initially that got me interested in the hobby. Talking to my daughter, we decided it was a good way to do our part to help leave the earth better than how we found it by pulling the trash and garbage out. We hit swimming areas and just pull out buckets of nails from these areas where people go swimming, sharpen pieces of metal that have just rusted down to a fine point that anybody could jump on.
It's kind of like the modern day, the people you see on the beach with their
with the metal detectors?
Yeah,
except
find their treasures, but this will actually pick it up for you.
We metal detect too, but I found that I get the exact same thing either way.
Really?
Rusty metal.
Okay.
It's all rusty metal.
You got to have some metal in it. But this is something that some of us when I walk on the beach in Muskegon, I can't help picking up the flotsam that's there and bringing a bag and taking it home. But we see this where people are scaling Mount Everest now, not to necessarily climb Mount Everest, but to take the trash and the dead bodies down. And we're hearing that in orbit, there's junk circulating that's going to wipe out satellites. And then Lake Tahoe, there was a big cleanup, and they found a drum with a metal drum with a body in it.
That wasn't a big cleanup. That was just to lower levels of water in the lake.
But I mean, they found all manner of things, and I think people are starting to understand that we can't keep throwing shit in there without doing some damage. So this is kind of a hobby, and also a little bit of some good citizenry.
This hobby really opens your eyes as to what the bottom of our waterways look like, as to how horrible we as a species have been to our planet. We do use an underwater camera during the months of the year where you can actually have enough clarity to see the bottom of the river. And, the amount of stuff we pick up with the magnet is nothing compared to the amount of plastic and glass and other stuff that's down there. It's an environmental thing. That's why we do it. That's why we love it. But, we do get a lot of really cool stuff out of it.
Yeah, I was going to say the treasure hunting is pretty damn exciting.
And I want to know
it's all a bonus.
If you have a magnet that can pick up 1,200 pounds, can you then pick up 1,200 pounds worth of stuff? I mean,
well, the magnet's rated for a maximum strength of 1,200 pounds. That's in an ideal setting with a half-inch thick piece of steel plate, perfect temperature, perfect humidity, and everything in order to get that rating of 1,200 pounds. You're never going to find that at the bottom of the river.
Right.
In fact, 80% of the stuff that you click onto with this magnet isn't going to you're not going to have a hard time picking it up. Okay. If you hook onto some big plate steel, or there's a lot of big stuff under there. Some pieces of cars, rear axle, you're probably not going to pull it up.
So you're not using like a winch and a pulley to throw the magnet out there, and then you're cranking in, this old Packard or anything like that?
No, I do carry a 4,000-pound come along. I'm sorry, a 4-ton come along, because the magnets do get stuck pretty often. Whether it's on a seawall or between some big rocks. There have been times where the magnets have been stuck to metal that we still don't know what it is. A lot of places where big boats have been through, we click onto stuff like that. So we do carry a 4,000-pound come along in order to be able to retrieve the magnet, because it's a couple $100 investment for each one.
What is a 4,000-pound come? That sounds like the worst date ever, or the worst date's friend.
It's a ratcheting mechanism with a steel cable and a hook on the end. And you just tie it off to a tree or a light post or whatever can support the weight, and you use that to pull it in. We've actually had to use it when pulling in fishing line masses. I've pulled in thousands and thousands of miles of fishing line, probably 400 or 500 pounds of just lead sinkers and lures.
I gotcha. Okay.
No, I think the most interesting thing, if you do a quick Google search on magnet fishing, you find people that find guns. Because, the idea, maybe not the romantic idea, but people kill somebody and then throw a gun in the water to get rid of it. How many guns have you pulled out?
I found more guns than I have bicycles.
Really?
I found 40 guns now, and I think I'm up to like 27 bicycles.
Oh, jeez.
40 guns.
40 guns as of last Sunday. One Harley Davidson, too. 2012. I don't remember what kind it was.
Now, what are the,
do those work? Can you use the guns, the bikes, the Harley?
only a couple of the bikes have been decent enough to where they could have been easily cleaned up. I didn't actually catch a full Harley. I only got about 60% of a Harley.
Now, do you know, have any of these guns been connected to any crimes? Have you been able to find that out, or?
Well, I haven't actually heard back from the police on any of them in specific, but, guns don't go into the river for no reason at all. So at minimum, I'm going to say they were stolen. Yeah, a couple of them may have been accidentally lost in there, but you can't justify that with 40 different firearms.
So what do? You pull a gun up. What's the first thing you do?
It depends on the city where I'm at. First thing I do is I will make sure that it is clear and safe. Make sure there's not one in the chamber. If there is, I will attempt to clear the chamber. If I can't, then that dictates how I handle the firearm from that point on. In the city of Detroit, they've actually asked me to just drop them off at whatever police station I prefer. I prefer the 4th Precinct. They're awesome guys over there. If it's in like E-Course, we call them, they'll come out. If it's in Flint, we call them, they come out. Detroit and E-Course is where I've gotten the majority of the firearms I've found.
And are these modern weapons, or are you finding like muskets and things like that? Or
I have never found a musket. Everything I have found shoots modern ammunition.
Okay, so these are things that someone has thrown in the water in our lifetime. So
I don't think you're old enough for some of them.
Okay,
but, some of them I think really went back in the 30s and the 40s. A lot of Prohibition era stuff.
Tommy gun. No,
I have not gotten a Thompson yet. That is on my bucket list.
That'd be pretty cool.
Gotten a German Luger. I've gotten a Walther P38. I got a World War II 1911. Still don't know what brand it was. I've gotten a 10 gauge shotgun. I've gotten a couple of 12 gauge, couple of 20 gauge shotguns. I've gotten 22 rifles, 22 pistols, a whole bunch of 32 caliber revolvers, 38. I've gotten 357. I got a Ruger Red Hawk 44 Magnum.
Damn, so that means James Bond and Dirty Harry both may have been in Detroit at some time.
Yeah, I've gotten
That's cool.
Old Colt pocket pistols, a lot of new 25 caliber seems to be pretty common in E-Course. I've gotten 5 or 6 of them out of the John Dingle Park in E-Course. Real small round Saturday night special.
Yeah, so be careful if you're partying in E-Course. It seems like people are packing, and they know where to throw it after they've plugged you.
Well, yeah, in the river you've got 321 years of history in the Detroit River.
Sure, and the current too. I mean, do you find that most of the things that you recover look like they may have been thrown in at that place, or who knows, that somebody threw it in Detroit and it's on its way to Wyandotte, or?
After speaking with an officer on the Detroit dive team, I believe everything was thrown in right where we find it. He's right about where we found it. He said that most things will, depending on the current, they'll fall at about a 30-degree angle, and then where they land is where they stay. So
wow.
He's a professional, so I take his word for it.
Yeah, no, he's spent a lot of time sifting through the silt down there. What other things have you found? I mean, this political button, which I have to tell you, is in remarkably good shape. I had a flood in my basement, and I had a button from the 40s that looks a hell of a lot rougher than this does.
Well, a lot of things that get buried in silt and the gunk at the bottom of the river tend to last a lot longer because they're not being exposed to oxygen that's in the water. Things that sit up on top of the silt or in rocky areas don't seem to last as long. So dating when something went into the water is pretty hard. You just kind of like that. Luckily, that has a date on it.
Yeah, 48.
90% of the stuff I pull out does not. I got a Federal Mogul boat propeller sign. Found out it was from the 40s or the 50s.
Okay.
Only one other one like it's been sold on the internet, sold for $650. I don't collect signs. I do have signs in my garage, but I also lost a magnet that day, a $300 magnet.
Oh.
And so I put it up on Facebook Marketplace, and I had a guy that really wanted it. He's like, here, this is my living room. That's where it's going. And he shows me all these other signs. I was like, yeah, you're the guy for it. So I sold it to him, and then a couple of friends came out. And this wasn't in Detroit. This was somewhere else along the Detroit River. A couple of buddies came out and actually dove and retrieved my magnet for me. So that
cool.
was very cool. It is illegal to dive in Detroit if you are not a police officer.
Okay. And probably dangerous because the current is pretty strong. And from what I understand,
shipping lanes, it's a bad area.
And it's kind of funky underneath the edge there. I mean, you don't know where you can end up.
They classify the entire Detroit River as an active crime scene too.
Oh, well,
Oh, I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
Classic Detroit.
And that's not just because a kid's peeing in it.
Where, so mostly around here, around southeastern Michigan, is there like a bucket list of places in the world where you'd want to do this? I would think, I just naturally am thinking of New York.
I want to go behind the Manugian Mansion.
Oh, yeah. What, find what, a table leg or something?
I don't know. I would like to try from behind the Manugian Mansion. I've fished the park right next to it, gotten some lipstick containers. That's about it.
But what about where else in the world? Because, you know, New York, you think of people throwing guns or bodies in the East River or the Hudson.
New York is way too rocky.
Really?
Most areas around New York, New Jersey, there's a lot of rocks that have been put in for erosion resistance, and you will lose your magnet on those. I got a buddy who's lost, I think, 2 of them in the Hudson River right now.
So that's the place to get rid of a murder weapon.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I mean, never mind the belt sander in your garage. Just throw it in the river, yeah. But, if I could, I'd like to get over to Europe. I'd love to try Italy. I'd like to go Austria, England, pretty much any place where there was a battle fought for World War II. I would love to try. I do like World War II relics, and I've gotten quite a few of them out of the Detroit River.
Do you find grenades and things like that? Where, I mean, I would think if you're in Europe, you're going to find a lot of countermeasures. You know, like mines and things that go boom. That someone said, "Well, I don't know what to do with this. I'll just chuck it in the river." You know. I guess that seemed like a good idea at one time. It seems like the worst idea in the world to me now, but
there's a lot of people that fish over in England that do pull out hand grenades. They pull out all kinds of ordnance, and whenever they do, they call the police. They shut down the street. The bomb squad comes in, and then they take it and dispose of it. I've never pulled an explosive out.
Well, I guess we got that going for us. But you haven't been behind the Manugian. Who knows what's back there? What do you think would be the most?
I do have a friend that pulled an RPG out up in Ionia, and that's Ionia, Michigan. Little tiny Ionia. He pulled an RPG out up there.
It might have been the Michigan militia getting a little practice. But what do you think you would find behind them? I mean, what intrigues you about that particular spot?
Well, I mean, who knows what kind of evidence was thrown in there?
From the party?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, sure, yeah.
Find a laptop with an intact hard drive, that'd be
Have you found computers?
Yes. I found computers. I found hard drives. I found laptops. I found regular full computers.
Powers, yeah.
You said you found a PlayStation 5?
Yeah, I pulled a PlayStation 5
which are
out.
hard to get, right? I mean, why would somebody chuck one in the river? I'm assuming it must have been stolen.
It was either stolen or somebody's girlfriend or wife was very mad.
Oh,
very mad.
So what do you do?
Attrition right there.
You start those? Do they play the computers or anything?
No, I'm totally weirded out about the possibility of what's on a hard drive that caused somebody to throw it in the river. I don't want to open it and find out, that there's something in there that I don't want to see. And I don't know if they can even be salvaged after having been in the water.
Could have Jumanji in it.
You obviously haven't seen the original.
Hunter Biden's junk pictures, maybe not worth all the.
So what do you do? Just recycle them then? God, man, curiosity. I would want to see, but
I'm not a computer expert. I don't build them. I don't know how to restore them. I don't know if a hard drive can even be recovered.
Do you turn those into the police? Just
no,
to see?
No, they would just look at me and be like, "Throw it away."
Really?
Well, we did when I was doing a story about. Now former councilman George Cushingberry, he abandoned a house.
Yeah.
And the bank said, "It's our house, take whatever you want." And there was a computer there. And I was wondering, boy, I wonder what Cush got up to, because he was accused of all kinds of crazy stuff. And we did pull the hard drive, and one of the IT guys at work was able to, I can't remember whether he said marry it or mirror it or pirate it, whatever. It wasn't pirated, but it was something like that, parrot, where we hooked the hard drive from, this old PC to another PC, and we were able to access the hard drive, but some of it was password protected. But it was not as hard as you would think. But this had been in a trashed garage, a house of skank, not underwater for who knows how long. But again, we were talking a little bit before the show about with fresh water, things have a better chance of coming back, whereas with salt water, you were saying anything with metal in it is
Well, I mean, look at the underside of your car in the state of Michigan after the winter. You'll see how much rustier it is than it was the summer before. The ocean's going to be the same way. As far as water bodies go, I've read that the Detroit River is actually an ideal condition for preserving things, especially when you get into the silty areas or the real deep muck. That really helps out a lot.
And do people do magnet fishing in salt water?
Oh, yeah. I got a couple of buddies that live in Florida. One of them, he recently posted a video where he pulled out 3 AK-47s in one spot.
Is that Miami?
No, I believe it was around Orlando, so I don't think it was saltwater. But my buddy Sean, the Brockton magnet fisher, he's gone out and fished saltwater over on the East Coast. Never really pulled up much there, though.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess I would think, boy, if you're around Providence, there's a lot of saltwater, a lot of mob activity there in Rhode Island. So between Southie and Rhode Island, you probably have a lot floating around in the waters over there. But
before the show, I was watching one of the videos I was asking you about. It was some voodoo. That was the grossest thing to pull out of the water. I mean, of all the gross things you can pull out of the Detroit River, it was a container of some sort. And can you explain to the people listening what was in the container?
Absolutely. So we found that down in E-Course at the John Dingle Park, there is a ton of witchcraft, voodoo, and Ogun related stuff there. Every time I magnet fish there, I pull out a spell jar of some kind. Usually they're little baby food jars with a bunch of different layers of different herbs or something in them. They usually got a little white piece of paper in them. I pulled out a full Ogun one time, or an Nganga, I believe is what it's called, from the Ogun religion. It was 3 of these giant cast iron cauldrons, each one smaller than the other. There was knives and tools and all. There was a rosary inside of it.
That is so creepy.
It's really cool.
It gets worse.
I gave my buddy the cauldrons, and he later on found out they were worth about $1,000.
Oh shit!
Like, oh well, if you sell them, you got to split them with me.
Yeah.
The worst thing I.
What is the purpose of these things? Are people trying to put some bad juju in there, or are they putting a hex on somebody, or?
Each one of them can be different from what I understand. The Ogun one with the Nganga, I believe I've had people tell me that part of the ceremony is actually putting the whole thing into the water. But to me, it's just garbage in the water that doesn't belong there. It needs to come out. We're trying to better the environment.
But is this like, you put your you pack up your troubles in an old kit bag and throw it in the water, or are these things done to try and put a hex on somebody?
Some of them are. A couple of weeks ago, Tanner, the Michigan Magnet Man, and I were out behind the post office, and I pulled in this. It was a glass jar, and you could see it just kind of looked like there was a photo in it. I told him, I'm not opening it, man. I've opened too many of these things. And I'll get back to the one you're talking about here.
Yeah. Are you worried that the curse is going to jump out on your ass?
No, I'm worried about the bodily fluids that are contained in these things.
Yeah. Because there was a red mixture when you were opening it up.
Yeah, so that one was Voodoo. I know that one was Voodoo because it was a big old school Mountain Dew bottle with the big wide neck opening. Opened it up.
A Mountain Dew bottle? I don't know much about the religion, but that doesn't seem like the right artifact to do your
Code
voodoo.
Red.
But I don't know.
Yeah, no, this is way older than Code Red. This is 90s.
Okay.
And, I couldn't get the lid off, so we had found this junk knife, and I used that to cut it open, and then just the smell that punched me in the face. God. It was like, it smelled like hot sauce or something that had gone bad. Like there was salsa in it or something. I cut it open and these 9 knives fall out. 3 of the blades are burnt black. The other 6 all have inscriptions on them.
Like names or just runes?
Like just, remove all evil forces that are blocking me from winning the lottery. I'm serious.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Stuff like that, or people that owe me money. I think one of them said, remove all evil forces that got my brother wrongly convicted. And then there are names on them, which I don't want to.
Sure.
Was one of them Sean?
No, every one of them had 2 names, and they were always the same. And
Windsor? Sean Windsor? That's 2 names. That's one guy, but never mind. Okay, sorry.
So, posted that video online. People are coming back. Oh, that red stuff, that was probably a mixture of hot sauce, menstrual blood, and urine.
Yeah.
And so totally grossed out.
Wow, I put that shit on everything. That's different hot sauce.
A couple months later, we're hosting the first Get the Motor City Magnet Fishers cleanup event in E-Course, and Zan from the YouTube channel Venture to Low pulls in a Mountain Dew bottle. And he's like, "Oh, I wonder what's in it." I looked at him. I said, "It's gonna be 9 knives." I said, "Go dump it out on the grass. Don't open it near me." Sure enough, 9 knives in it. And then this last winter, I got another one stuck to my magnet, but it fell off, and so like I couldn't recover it. And then I went out again in a different spot, and I pulled in another one. And a friend of mine from the Ecorse Creek Conservancy happened to be standing there watching, and so of course I had to open it. I didn't want to, but I did, and sure enough, 9 knives in it.
9. What is it about the number 9?
I don't know.
It's 6 upside down. I don't know.
Now, July 16th, you're doing another cleanup, right, in Ecorse?
Yes, July 16th, we are doing the second annual Get the Motor City Magnet Fishing Cleanup event. We have raised funds from the magnet fishing community all over America in order to be able to purchase 50 magnet kits to give out to children between the ages of 5 and 15.
If you know nothing about magnet fishing or fishing in general, you'll teach them?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what the event is about. We got magnet fishers coming in from all over the country. Last year, we had them from Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan. This year, it looks like we're going to have people coming in from even farther out to help out with it. It's an event to get the kids outside, get them doing something that's good for the environment and something they're going to have fun with. We have talked to the City Council of Ecorse, and they are going to have representatives there, as well as we're going to probably have police and fire there to help the kids get their magnets unstuck. I got a friend that's coming out with a boat because there are a lot of rocks there, and he's going to go troll along the coastline in order to be able to unhook their magnets when they get stuck.
And what do you tie the magnet to? Because I'm thinking fishing line is not going to cut it, but you're probably not putting it at the end of a steel cable either, are you?
No, I use a climbing rope.
Okay.
Rated for about 5,600 pounds.
Okay. Wow.
Now, when I think of things lost in water, I naturally think of cell phones. You must get a bunch of cell phones.
I don't get as many as you would think.
I was thinking virginity, but I guess our minds are in different places.
You'd think I'd get more, but there's not a lot of touristy places around Detroit where people are holding the phone over the railing and taking a picture like there are in other countries.
We don't have cruise ships or anything.
No,
so, yeah.
no.
Could you get into Cedar Point? I would think there'd be a bunch in Cedar Point, that crappy water there.
There could be. I want to go, and I emailed them the Greenfield Village. There.
Oh, yeah.
The water there, that one that's just black and murky and full of catfish. I want to do that and try to pull out any cell phones and garbage people have dropped in there. Best phone I've gotten so far was an iPhone 7, and no, it didn't work even after spending a week in Rice. I didn't actually use Rice. I used the
silicates.
Yeah.
Wow. And when you get these kids doing this, it's not only a way to get kids out and connect them to the waterfront and get them under the sun as opposed to in front of a screen, but I imagine part of your goal is if these kids stick with it, that's that much more junk we pull out of the water.
It's not just that. The reason we did it was because of the pandemic. The first one, my wife had the idea. This was all her brainchild, was to get the kids outside because they'd been cooped up for over a year at that point in time. But also because of the knowledge you gain and just the understanding of when you're pulling in this stuff with every throw, you're pulling in garbage, and you start to understand what we're actually doing to our environment. So this gives the kids kind of a leg up on not littering, not throwing garbage in.
And how would you say that this has changed your life? And I don't want to get too grandiose here, but you spend a lot of time doing this. I mean, what were you doing before where you're like, no, this is more important to me. This is, what does this all mean to you?
For me, it's become an obsession. You can ask my wife.
Does she regret her decision to get you out there?
She has.
Now that's sporting an obsession.
I'm sure she has.
So I guess you didn't turn over any of the jewelry you found to her then. That might be a sweetener for
Well, she doesn't want any of it because the only jewelry that's magnetic is worthless.
Oh, right. So gold and platinum, things like that, nothing.
Nope, none of that stuff will stick.
Really?
Out of the 4 or 5 safes I've gotten, I haven't even had anything valuable in them.
Did you have to crack them, or were they already open?
One up in Flint, we had to crack open, but I think it was already open. And it was rusted shut.
Okay.
All the rest of them, the doors were gone.
So these guys with metal detectors and these women with metal detectors, how are they finding jewelry?
Because they're digging it up. They're getting the signal where they can actually reach it. The magnet's not going to pick up anything that's non-ferrous. It's only going to pick up ferrous metals.
So what do those ping on then.
Not all metal is magnetized, right?
No.
Oh,
There's
okay.
ferrous and there's non-ferrous metals. Ferrous metals will be attracted to a magnet. That'd be steel, iron.
So that's what you get. Okay.
yeah.
And the metal detector guys, they have a wider spectrum of stuff they can figure out.
All metal.
Yeah, a metal detector will pick up all metal. It'll pick up gold, platinum, silver, steel, zinc.
Okay.
Pretty much everything.
So if you get some jewelry, it must be like a watch or something with a backing on it, or
I've gotten a few watches. I did get a big wad of necklaces too.
Oh, okay.
One of them was not magnetic, so we're not sure if that's something that could be valuable. But they were all old costume jewelry from like before the 70s.
Oh wow. Okay.
So probably stolen, and then it's not gold, silver. throw it in.
They just get rid of it, yeah.
Yeah, ditch the evidence. Damn.
So what's the protocol going to be at this e-course event if you see a kid pull out a Mountain Dew bottle from the river?
Run. No. Just, no, if we know that those bottles do have knives in them, so if a child does pull one in, obviously we don't want them opening it. The other thing about the cleanup and everything is we have enough adults there, we have enough seasoned people there that if a child does pull something in, we do a little safety instruction before. If you see something that looks like a knife, don't touch it. Let an adult take it off for you. We also provide gloves to the kids so they don't get poked and cut and scratched. And this year we'll actually be able to supply gloves to the parents too, so that they will be able to handle the magnet without getting hurt themselves.
So Jason, give us some quick tips on what aspiring magnet fishers should know, and then let people know where they can find out where you're doing what you're doing and how they can get involved on July 16th out there in E-Course.
Absolutely. Anywhere there's water and anywhere people meet water, you're going to find garbage. You're going to find something in there, whether it's just rusty nails, railroad spikes, or guns, knives, motorcycles, signs. Who knows? There's always something in the water. It seems like some areas you don't find anything. Like I went magnet fishing up in the Pine River by Cadillac. Got absolutely nothing. It was one of the greatest trips I've ever had. But July 16th at the John Dingle Park in Ecorse, Michigan, we are holding the second Get the Motor City Magnet Fishing Cleanup event. We would love anybody that's interested in magnet fishing to come out. We're going to be giving out magnet kits to the children between ages of 5 and 15. If you're over 15 and you want to just come out and watch, you can come out. We'll probably hand you a magnet and let you play with it for a little while. If you're a magnet fisher that's around Michigan or anywhere else and you want to come out for the event, please do. We want to get as many people out there as we can to clean up as much garbage as possible.
And where can people watch your videos?
YouTube. Check me out under the Motor City Magnet Fishers. We're also on TikTok, Instagram. I post on Reddit daily.
Okay, Motor City Magnet Fishers, Jason Vanderwaal, thanks for coming. It's a great, it sounds like kind of a cool hobby for people who like to be surprised by what they found. No offense to the geocachers, it sounds much cooler than geocaching to me. But it also is doing a lot of good. So thank you very much. And if we get all these other kids out there cleaning up, all of a sudden we might make a dent in this and maybe just keep some people from putting crap there in the first place.
Agreed.
So Jason Vanderwaal, you can find out more about him.
Oh, I thought that was my cue.
That was my cue. Jason Vanderwaal, thanks for coming.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
So what is it with these goofy golfers? We here in Detroit have had Bryson DeChambeau beefing at a photographer for catching him in a moment where he was not his best and saying, oh man, this is going to hurt my brand. Then we have Phil Mickelson, who also showed his ass in Detroit by complaining about an article in the Detroit News that talked about his gambling losses, and then
he's such a baby.
Yeah,
then he's such a baby about
gone on to many more goofy things, and now he's not even going to defend a championship he won. So,
because he's got that book coming out on him.
Yeah, well, the way he gambles, it sounds like he might want to get some more money. And now Greg Norman, the shark, is downplaying the vicious murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi by minions of the Saudi sovereign. Norman is the chief executive of a golf tournament funded by the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund. Norman called the murder of Khashoggi a mistake and said the Saudi government, they just want to move forward.
Who hasn't done something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey.
You got to live and learn.
saw guys
I can't believe he
head
said,
off.
I do want to point out, so Jack Nicklaus came out and said, hey, yeah, they tried to hire me to do this twice, and I keep telling them to beat it, get out of here, pound sand.
Well, and I think these are the same guys who may be involved in Mickelson's latest screw up, where he was talking about how the PGA this and trying to get people over there, and then
Saudi Arabia is trying to sports wash some of their bad civil rights and humanity issues by being very active in sports. They've done it with soccer already, and now golf is the next step.
Yeah, I guess now that they're letting a couple women drive, it's all better over there. Well. This whole notion of trying to move forward, I think Khashoggi would probably like to move forward too, but it's kind of hard when somebody sawed off your legs. So, Greg Norman, you didn't often win the big game. You kind of had a reputation for choking at the end. And so here's a winner for you. You're our Geek of the Week.
There's an all-night party in room 7609. And you can dance together all night if you've got the time.
So, do you remember when your whole life revolved around the mall? That's where you're going to go try and find other kids. That's where you were going to go and do all your shopping before they all started shutting down and being turned into.
Yes, I remember it.
Mall
life.
Yeah, there were movies, Mall Rats. There was
Great
everything.
flick.
I mean, Mark, what's his name, was trying to get a cool job at the mall so he could get over on Jennifer Jason Leigh. And,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, his buddy
Damone.
Damone.
What a great character Damone was.
He was, and I don't know why that guy's career didn't take off, because he was genius in that role. But anyways, listener Joseph takes us back to the days when the mall was the center of it all. With his suggestion, we play Robert Hazard and the Heroes, their anthem, Escalator of Life.